Hello everyone, I am Manu Chaube from eShell.life and this is the leadership podcast series called Leadership Demystified. I have my co-host with me, Pooja Talesra. Glad to have you here, Pooja.
Hi, Manu. I'm excited and looking forward to co-host this session with you.
Likewise, me too. And today, dear viewers, we have someone very special with us. She is a mother, a passionate entrepreneur, an active angel investor, youngest business guru in Asia, a speaker, and a philanthropist. She inspires millions around the world. Today, we have with us for her very first podcast, Leza Parker. Welcome, Lisa. Glad to have you with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. We are really excited to have this discussion with you about leadership on this podcast. And you have an extensive experience of working with a lot of startups, millennials, and your own journey has been quite inspirational. So before hopping down to what leadership is all about, can you take us through your wonderful journey?
My journey is a little bit different. I think it's more inspirational than most is because a lot of people could relate to it. So I got married really early when I was just 20. So motherhood starts really early for me. And while I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't pursuing study. I had no business knowledge. I had no bachelor degree. So I was looking after my 3 kids and I realized that there was not enough money in the household to raise 3 children. So I thought to myself that I have to step out there and I have to pursue something to improve my finance. So I started a business from home when I was 27 years old. And at that time, I wasn't really into business. I was more into earning a side income. So I have extra money to pay the bills. And what started from home was a very simple business idea. But fast forward 2 years after that, I start getting introduced to people who were willing to invest in me, and using investments, I pursued on more businesses along the way. So that made me the entrepreneur I am today. And I'm a completely different person because people wouldn't expect, for example, a mother of 3 young children, and they were 4, 2, and newborn at that time, to be able to run a business at the same time. Because people are always thinking that business people who are successful are usually those with at least a master degree or 10 years work experience or a very good network. So because I come from a totally different background, I think that was what managed to inspire people to basically believe in themselves and chase their dreams as well, I guess.
Very nice. So, when you were talking about your journey, I just had a feeling that, a lot of people around the world can relate to what you have been through in your journey. What do you say, Pooja?
Absolutely. I was just trying to understand, and it's been so insightful and it's been so inspiring. So, Lisa, you made a very profound statement that most of the people would think that education is somewhere related to the people who have high degrees would get into a good job. My next question comes from there, Lisa. What is the significance age, gender, experience, and education have in the ability to lead and inspire?
Actually, that's a very good question because people will always find fault in themselves thinking that they're not successful because of their age or because of their gender or because they weren't smart enough. But actually, the real key to being successful is just a desire. If your determination to succeed is the only thing that's going to make you successful, is how bad you want it. Because ultimately, if education was a hindrance and you want to know how to achieve or do something, you have that desire to continuously learn. You find the channels and the sources to want to improve yourself. Age and gender, they don't really apply to people being successful. We've seen people who are millionaires even before they turn 25. Or we have also seen people who achieve success at a much later on in life after they've done so many things. But even though they start later, they were actually very successful in a very short period of time. And there's also right now as well, there's more support for female founders, entrepreneurs, investments, and capital to support women in business. So whether they're mother or not, and if you manage to juggle your schedule well and balance it out between what other responsibilities in your personal and your professional space, you will be doing well regardless whether you have the degree or not. So it doesn't apply. It doesn't make sense for anybody to think that just because they are, of a certain gender or they are too old or they're too young, even if they feel that they're not experienced enough, they got to start experiencing something. That's how we build experiences. You start young, no experience, and you might fail for the next 5 times, but it was those experiences that's going to make you successful in the future. So the point is to keep on trying and start today.
Nicely said, Lisa. And when you are mentioning about a lot of support is there currently for people from different backgrounds, and they can pursue their dreams and they can walk on the path which they have chosen for themselves. It is really encouraging to hear that. Which brings me to a question when you are talking about when education is not that important. So how does one should manage between the hard skills and the soft skills? Hard skills as in business and technical acumen, soft skills as in people skills and empathy, when they are trying to develop themselves as a leader.
Actually, developing themselves as a leader is way more important. In my personal opinion, having soft skills of good character, compassionate, empathy, taking care of people's needs, helping people progress. These are actually very good skills of a leader. With regards to technical, like acumen that's related to business skills, you learn in time, and secondly, you've always got supporting people to support you. When I start a business, obviously, we don't know coding, but we're a tech company. So what we do was we find the right people, we win relationship with the right people who is going to help us develop that aspect of the business. So the main important skill is when you want to become a leader, right? Once I used to have a boss when I was 19 years old, and I always had arguments at the workplace. And I was a sales executive, so I told him that, look, I can't stand the people in the office because they are always isolating me because, they're jealous of me or they're not helping me. And my boss tells me that if you want to win business outside the office, it starts inside. If you cannot win your own people to support you, to help you get the documents you need, to give you the information you want, how is it that you are going to get support outside? So the skill to win relationship is part of leadership, which means you don't win people by, giving them monetary profits all the time. Because leadership is actually very personalized. I don't wake up every day and go to the office and monitor everybody's performance. I don't do that because as a CEO, my role is just to make sure that my people are happy in their role. And what can I do and contribute to win them closer to me so that, letting them know that I care for their personal development and their professional development. And that I believe is a good leadership.
Perfect. So, Pooja, when Lisa was just mentioning about the skills, what came into my mind is that a real leader is someone
Yep.
who believes in empowering others and creating more leaders in the environment. That is a perfect way to put it out in a very good context. Which brings me to our next question, which is discussed a lot of times before as well. In your opinion, whether leadership is an innate quality which is embedded in your DNA, or do you think it can be cultivated?
I think leaders are not born, they're actually groomed. In order to be a good leader, right, you have to be very sensible to people's well-being, people's lifestyle, people's choices. You have to respect very different opinions. You have to agree to disagree. And all this contributes after years of experiencing dealing with people. The truth is, if we have never dealt with people, let's say we never leave our house, we live in a cave, we don't interact with people, there is no way we can be groomed to be good leaders. It cannot be a natural born instinct. Okay, but it's same thing, like I can't say I have a motherly instinct if I don't actually give birth and be a mother. So you have to actually experience something in order to develop the instinct for it, but it's not by birth. It's only through interaction with a lot of people over the many years, whether you're in the corporate sector, whether you're at home, whether you're in your community of your friends. So from there, you look at people's behavior and you start to understand psychologically, you understand their perspective, why they think like that, why they do like that. And you have the interest to help them if they need help and to continue to, motivate them when they feel down, keep them positive. So that is why I feel that if you develop an interest, genuine interest to help people be better in your personal and professional space, that is when you are ready to lead.
Now, me being a woman, and I'm sure many women out there, juggling between the corporate career and motherhood. So we would want to hear from you. How do you manage balance between career and motherhood?
For me, when I start a business, there's different stages, right? Obviously, people tell you when you first start out, there's so much to learn, so much mistakes has been done. You realize that you spend much more time at work. It will change over time because nobody can do 18 hours a day for 5 years straight. It's really tiring. But you can do it for the first 2 years, and if you do it well, which means you activate proper safety nets, you have standard operating procedures, you've hired and recruit and trained good people, eventually that work commitment, as in the time that you give, becomes lesser, where it makes it easy for you to balance out. But most importantly, I want to tell people that they need to take care of a couple of things. Number one, they have to keep themselves happy, which means doing small little things that makes them happy in between the day. If they think that taking 15 minutes nap is making them feel good, do it. If they think that they want to go out, eat their favorite food, or they want to call their mother, or they want to see their children on, do all the small things that constantly keep you happy, because running a business or giving so much energy to develop something can be really draining. And also taking care of your health is important. People think that I'm going to work. It's okay. It's okay. I don't have to exercise. I can skip meals for the day. You can do it probably and get away with it a couple of times. But that kind of routine will endanger your health. And when it really does, you'll be in a hospital or you're not well, it causes even more implication that all the work you've done for your business doesn't make sense because you end up not being able to continue it. So keeping a balance, taking care of your health, because that is actually very, very essential. I used to have a friend and he always tells me that when we're young, we were willing to trade our health for wealth. But when we're older, we hope that we can buy back our health with the wealth, but we can't. They have to remember that now. So regardless if they're tired, take a break, do something that makes them happy, not necessarily go on a holiday every weekend. But I'm sure there's small little things that people should continue to appreciate, and always surround yourself with people who are positive and people who keeps you grounded. That's important.
So these are on this beautiful journey. There must be some challenges which you must have faced. If you could help us understand those challenges, or if you would share with us those challenges you faced.
Absolutely, it cannot be smooth. I always believe that people with a bad past will always create the best future because they learn so much through the experiences that they can shape their success today. And I feel that even though if you look at someone and you think that, oh, I want to be like that person is successful, I want to have a house like her, or I want to do what she does, I want to run a company like she does, people should always remember that to get to a stage of success isn't an easy path, because if it was easy, every one of us would be successful. Every one of us will be a millionaire. And by saying that doesn't mean that all of us has no potential to become a rich or person or a successful person, because it's just a question of whether we keep going or we quit. That is just the question is. So the point of struggle, it will happen in both in our personal and professional life. Even if you don't pursue a business, you'll always have troubles at work when you're working for someone else, or even if you're not at work, when you're at home in your personal life. So the question is, when it comes to all these problems that I encounter, and they're not small problems. For example, our company had to go through bankruptcy in 2014. Our company had to streamline, and we streamlined, I think, twice in our business, where we had to let go people, close down our offices, and we lost money because we invest money into projects. So we had lost investment money, which was burned. But they're all lessons to me. So for me, during these struggles of tough times and bad decisions, they didn't demotivate me. Funny to say, because normally if you were to lose 100,000, you would go like, oh my God, that's 100,000 gone. But if you could lose money, if you could lose 100,000, that means you have the capability to have that 100,000 in your bank in the first place, which means that you have the capability to earn it. That's why you could lose it. If you have never been able to earn 100K in your bank account, then you never get to lose it. So the risk gets more as you go bigger. But, over time you learn how to manage your safety nets, which means there's a plan B and a plan C that is put into place as soon as plan A fails. You start to recognize better talent. You start to, recognize what's good or what's not of a good decision. So all those struggles, for some reason, I think I was very stubborn. I think my mother can agree to that. So because of that, I always think that when there's a failure, I'm like, yes, we've learned something today. That's me. So that's how I go through my struggles. But it happens in business. And also, of course, juggling with children. Like, as a mother, Pooja, we have guilt all the time. So even at work, we're in meetings, we're surrounded by guilt. We had to fly for business. We always worry that we're not giving enough time to our children. And sometimes we're trapped in a situation where we just can't. On that day, we had something urgent. We need to fix something. That is an emotional struggle. I mean, women and mothers face it. So finding that balance was my biggest challenge, was trying to be a mother. I don't want my children to grow up and say, yeah, and people tell them, oh, your mom's successful. And they go like, yeah, but my mom was never there. I imagined that day would come. So that's why I remind myself that I would not let that day come where my children would not remember me as their mother. but more of a figure everybody else is talking about. So keeping that balance is important.
Wonderfully said, Lisa. The way you have mentioned about your struggles in your journey, many might find relevance on those notes. One thing which I had in mind when you were talking about your struggles, especially at that point when your company was going through that phase of bankruptcy, what exactly sustained your passion to carry on at that bad phase of your life?
I mentor a lot of businesses and leaders, right? And I love mentoring at startup pre-seed stage, at the early stage where you're about to groom a leader. And I always tell people that when you start a business, right, you mean the business that lasts the longest is always the business that contributes meaning to other people. If a business doesn't contribute meaning, it doesn't last very long. So I was always questioning people, what is the intention behind a business? If your intention is about monetary gain, it's about fame and publicity, it's about banking 1 million in your bank account, then the day that you have your first loss, you will break, you will quit because that disappoints you too much. But if your intention was to drive the community forward so that they get inspired, they get empowered to succeed in their own rights, or you develop something that contributes value for them, allowing them to become financially independent, for example, if that is your intention, there will never be a time you have to quit because the mission will always be ongoing. You will always have another person tomorrow that you can empower, another person tomorrow that you can introduce your program to. There's another person tomorrow that you want to educate because the intention is way beyond paper dollars. Also, another thing that keeps me in the right frame of mind when I should have lost my sanity, I should have, is that my children, we go back to intention as a mother was trying to make sure that we put food on the table. But not only that, we wanted more for our children. So we want to make sure that their future is secured. If my son wanted to do piano, he would ask me for a class and I don't want to tell him, no, I can't afford it because it's something he wants to pursue. So bearing that in mind, since I have children, I always remind myself that the reason why I work so hard was because I owe it to my children as a responsible parent. I want them to have a better future than I do. So is with all the other mothers in the world. So when I kind of lose money or I have problems, I come back home, look at my children, not think about work, and think about the next stage of life that I want to give them, and that puts me back to motivation zone. And then I go back to work, and I tell myself, today I'm gonna make it, and that's how I do it every day to keep on going, no matter how tough it is.
That's true. That's true. Very, very relatable. One aspect of leadership is also motivating your team when you're going through a bad phase and when you are fighting these challenges. How did you motivate your team? How did you motivate people who were a part of your business?
When we hire people, we were very particular, more in the character of the person than their capabilities. I always love to see fresh graduates or hungry people after, not for money, they're not hungry for money, they're hungry for experience, where they want to build out a portfolio. And these are the people with the right attitude to come on board a startup and deliver. And then taking care of them, educating them right from day one about the intention and the vision of the company, which has nothing got to do with money. We don't tell our staff that, okay, you're all going to work for us. So tomorrow we are going to be a 50 million evaluation company and I'm going to cash in 5 million in my bank. It doesn't work that way. So when we encourage people to work with us, we make sure we educate them on the intention. And secondly, right, so you allow people to discipline themselves, knowing that this is what they commit to deliver. It doesn't matter what time and they will still deliver. So if they said, oh, my child is sick, can I go to childcare? They don't feel like they are begging you for permission. So I make sure that my staff they understand that I'm approachable and I understand their issues from any regard. And also to motivate them is, of course, to give them some career progression, which means an opportunity to be important or more important in your business. And we operate in 5 corporate offices. So you can imagine our staff are in the Philippines, Australia, Malaysia, and they've been with us with no questions of ever thinking of leaving because I guess we really take care of them emotionally.
Wow. A last sentence which you said about taking care of people who are working with you emotionally, I think that separates a lot of good leaders from great leaders. And your entire journey actually an expression of grit, and desire to be successful in what you're doing. And whether you find your motivation from your family or your friends or your colleagues or your passion, it's just your desire and grit to carry on in the bad phases when you face challenges. It was a really insightful discussion with you, Leza, today.